ask questions more politely in English. Now, I'm just going to focus on questions because being polite politeness, the study of politeness is a huge topic. You can look at politeness between interactions in, for example, suggesting something, offering help, these kind of things. Today we're just going to look at requests. So asking questions, basically, but I'm talking about making requests. So there are two things to consider when you are making a request. The first one is the level of power of the listener, of the listener and the speaker. So what do I mean? For example, if you are in a class, okay, and your classmate is there, you have the same level of power. While if you're in a class, so this should be really student, okay, you are the student and then your teacher is in there, you don't have the same level of power in many cases. Your teacher will have a higher level of power because they have more authority, you could say. The same here between a boss and their employee. So the boss has more power, okay? I mean, they're paying you, okay, for a job. They kind of tell you what to do in your job. They have more power than an employee. So this is what I mean by the power of the listener and the power of the speaker. The second thing you need to consider is the imposition. What do I mean by the imposition? I mean, how big is your question? How big is your request? So if I'm asking, for example, my classmate to close the window, that's very small, okay? That's a very small level of imposition. However, if I'm asking my classmate to give me the keys to their Ferrari along with £10,000, slightly higher imposition, okay? So they are things to consider. Just putting please at the end of your question does not make it politer and it does not make it more acceptable. Now, I've chosen how to ask more politely in English, but what I mean is what's acceptable, because what is polite may not necessarily be acceptable in some cases. I will show you some examples of this, because at this point you may be quite skeptical, you may not believe me. So let's do an example together. You're a follower of a teacher on Instagram. You have never spoken to this teacher directly and you'd like to ask them to check to see if your sentence is correct. Which is the best option in your opinion? A. Hi, Teacher John. I've written a sentence and I don't know if it's correct. Would you be able to check it for me, please? Here's the sentence. How is you? Now, I know it's quite a simple sentence, but that's not the point. B. Hi, Teacher John. Please check this sentence. How is you? C. Hi, Teacher John. I know you're extremely busy and you probably receive lots of messages per day. However, I have a quick question about a sentence. If you have the time, would you be able to check it for me? This is the sentence in case you have the time to check it. How is you? And then the last one, let me move it up, then you can see. Hi, Teacher John. I would like you to check this sentence, please. How is you? Okay. What do we think in the comments is more appropriate in this situation? So we've got a teacher. Think of the level of imposition. Now, this teacher probably receives a lot of messages per day, okay? So to answer something as simple as, how is you? Is this correct? Could be a medium level of imposition for them. I mean, they're doing it for free. They maybe don't have much time. They have many messages. So it's maybe a medium level of imposition for them. I mean, you're not asking your teacher for £1 million, so it's not a high level of imposition. In terms of power, they have a higher level of power. I mean, they're a teacher, they have a higher level of authority, in some cases anyway. What do we think? People have given mixed options, which is, I love it when people give mixed options. Many have said C, okay. Some have said A as well. Some have said D. Okay, that's really interesting. Any others? No one has gone for B. Why is that? Why has no one gone for B, but people have gone for D? This is interesting. This is really interesting. So, if you chose A, hi Teacher John, I've written a sentence and I don't know if it's correct. This is quite nice because you're kind of preparing the teacher for something, okay? You're preparing them, and so the teacher knows, this guy's gonna ask me a question, yeah, okay? Would you be able to check it for me, please? Now, using this, would you be able to check it for me, is kind of giving the person, in this case John, it's giving John the choice, okay? Now, if you're giving people a choice whether to reject or accept your request, this makes it a lot politer, let's say, okay? Adding the please just makes it a little bit more politer. I mean, you could remove it. Would you be able to check it for me? Okay, still sounds just as polite, with or without the please. I'm going to get a bit nerdy here, but there was a study conducted where they asked a certain number of British native speakers, I think, they were British, and non-native speakers, and they asked them a question like this, and they asked them to respond with their own answer, so it wasn't multiple choice. And can you believe that 0% of the native speakers did not use please? Okay, 0%. So it just shows that it's not always necessary and it's not always used. Now, if you chose B, which I think no one did, okay, that's good, thank you. Hi, Teacher John, please check this sentence. Check this sentence, check, okay? They're given an order, they're using the imperative, okay? They're giving a command. But by adding please, speaker B thinks, ooh, it's polite, okay? Now, a lot of people message me like this, and I know that they don't mean to be impolite, but when I read it, it is very rude. Please check this sentence. It's like, do it, command. The next one, C. I know you're extremely busy and you probably have lots of messages per day. So you're showing some compassion towards Teacher John, okay? You're showing some kind of respect, some understanding, which is very good, especially when they have a higher level of power or it's a higher level of imposition. However, I have a quick question about a sentence. So instead of saying, I have a question, you can soften it a little by saying quick. It's just a little question, John, okay? It's not going to take much time. So you're softening it even more. I have a quick question. If you have the time, so look, we're using a conditional. If you have the time, John, but it's okay if you don't. So you're taking away that kind of need for John, that pressure, okay, to reply. If you remove the pressure, it makes John happier, okay? Probably makes him a little more keen to answer your question. If you have the time, would you be able to check it for me? This is really nice. If you had the time, would you be able to check it for me? No pressure, John, if you don't have the time, okay? Because I know you're busy. this is the sentence in case you have the time. Again, we're taking away that pressure from John. So it's really nice. How is you? And then the last one, I think a couple of people chose D. Ooh, one person chose D. Hi, Teacher John. I would like you to check this sentence, please. Now, by saying I would like you to do something, you're basically saying what you want. Okay? I want you to check this sentence, John. Yeah? Okay? That's how it sounds to a native speaker. Now, I know you're using I would like you, which is a little bit politer than I want you to check. But it still has that underlying meaning of I want you to do something. I don't care about what you think, John. I want you to do it. I don't care about you. I care about me. That's how this sounds. And just by adding please, it doesn't make it politer, okay? If anything, it does the opposite. It makes it sound worse. Okay, it makes it sound like even more pressure on poor John and even more of a command. So I would agree with you guys. I would say that C is probably the best option. Okay, I would put C as number 1 as the best option, A as number 2 as the second best option, and then B and D, I would probably put them somewhere towards the bottom. They're not so appropriate for this context. So, any questions about that so far? No one has any questions, so that means that people are following. Good, okay? Now let's have a look at some ways that you can make questions sound politer or not in English. So the first thing I have to tell you is please does not equal politeness, okay? Just because you add please, it doesn't make it polite. It doesn't make it appropriate, okay? Please does not equal politeness, so stop using it thinking that you will be polite. It doesn't work. It sometimes has the opposite effect, okay? So, here are some ways that we can ask questions and make ourselves sound a little bit politer. So I could use the past tense modals. For example, can you check this document? Okay, I can use can, so that would be the present tense. Or, could you check this document? Just makes it sound a little bit politer if I use the past tense modal. The next one, a consultative device. Sounds very technical, because it is, okay? But, I mean, I'm a bit of a nerd, so it's difficult for me to not use these kind of terms. So I could say, would you mind checking this document? Would you mind? Would it be possible to check this document? Is it all right if you check this document? Is it all right if you check this document? Would it be possible to check this document? And would you mind? So I would use these for something low imposition, low power, okay? I wouldn't message my Instagram teacher saying, is it all right if you check this document? Okay, maybe because it's quite a big document. If it's a little question, so lower imposition, it sounds good. Is it all right if you check this sentence for me, Emma? How is you? Okay, low imposition, it's fine. The next one we have is a down toner. I guess, again, something a little more technical. So a down toner, is it possible to check this document? Is it possible? So they're using these little words to make it softer. The next one, could you just check this document? Now this is very interesting because we use just a lot in English to soften a request. Could you just open the window? Could you just pass me my book? Could you just, etc. Or can you just? By using this, it makes it softer. Conditionals. could you check this document if you have the time? Okay, if you have the time. I'm taking that pressure off Teacher John, okay? Could you check this document if you have the time, John? But it's okay if you don't, if you have the time, if. Past tense and aspect. Now, I think this one is the strangest one. This is the one when I was doing my master's research that people found the most difficult to comprehend. So I could say, I was wondering if you could check this document. I was wondering, okay? So by using the past continuous, we're actually softening the request. Instead of saying, I am wondering if you could check this document, it sounds a little strange when you use it in the present. We would use past continuous. I was wondering. I wondered. I wondered if you could check this document. Again, it's the same thing. By saying it in the past, in English, it doesn't mean that you were thinking in the past, that you were wondering in the past. This is not what it means. It's basically a way of softening what you're saying. Instead of saying, I wonder now if you could check this document. Sounds a bit weird. I wondered. Even though we're using it in the present, we use a past tense to make it softer. I wanted to ask. I wanted to ask if you could check this document. Just because I'm using it in the past, it doesn't mean that I want it in the past. No, don't get confused. I'm talking about the present, but by using a past tense, I'm making it softer. Okay? So you can use a past tense to make your request softer when you're using things like, I was thinking, I was wondering, I wanted, etc. Or I was wanting to ask, you could use as well. Negatives. I don't suppose there's any chance you could check this document. I don't suppose. So by using the negative here, we're making it softer again. I don't suppose. Let's have a quick check of some questions. Someone's asked, is it important to say, how is you? Now, by saying, is it important, are you asking that to Teacher John? So if I say, hi Teacher John, is it important to say, how is you? This is a very direct question, okay? So Teacher John will probably read this along with the other 200 messages he receives on his social media page, and he thinks, oh, this person's not very polite. Okay, direct question. This person doesn't care about me or my time. They just want the answer, which is understandable, okay? We all want to save time in the world, but we also have to show some respect to people as well. And this is what this is about. Let's see. Oh, good. Okay, nothing else related to the topic. So we can also add extra information. Now we do this with typically speakers. That makes no sense. We do this typically with speakers. We do this. There we go. We do this typically with speakers who have higher power, or if the question has a higher level of imposition. And by question, I mean a request. If the request has a higher level of imposition. So would it be possible for you to check this document? Because I don't know whether it's correct, and I've been checking it for days, okay? So they're giving a reason for why they want you to do something for them, okay? The same with if we go back to Teacher John and asking the question of, what was it? How is you, okay? So I could say, hi Teacher John, I've been thinking about this question for so many days. I checked on Google and I can't seem to find anything. So we're giving reasons for why we're asking Teacher John, okay? You can put the reasons before or you can put the reasons after your request. It's up to you, but it does change it slightly. So I can also apologize. which I get some followers doing with me. I'm so sorry, Emma, blah, blah, blah. I know you're busy. I'm sorry. Sorry, it's another question. You can do this. I'm very sorry, but would you please check this document? Yeah, I'm very sorry. You're apologizing for taking the person's time. It's a little bit politer because you're showing some level of respect, some level of understanding. And now you can also give thanks. This one I love, but not because of the reason you're maybe thinking. So when you say thanks or thank you at the end of your request, like here, could you check this document? Thank you. What you're basically saying to this person is thank you in advance because you're going to do this document whether you like it or not. Okay, that's how it sounds to us. So you're kind of thanking in advance with the expectation that the person is going to do it for you. So I have to admit, when people do message me saying things like, Emma, check this for me, please. Thank you. I think, wow, not only have you commanded me to do something for you, but you have thanked me in advance, which shows that you don't really respect the fact that I may have other things to do. Okay, this is how it sounds. Now, it does depend on the context, okay? But if I say, for example, John, close the window, thank you, that makes it very rude. Not only have I given poor John a command, but I thanked him in advance because I believe that he's going to do it anyway, whether John chooses to or not. So you're increasing that pressure if you add the thank you at the end. However, in some cases, it's absolutely fine. Now, we're nearly finished. Do we have any questions? I don't think so. Sorry, Emma, because I'm focused on your teaching. Let's see. No other questions related to the topic, which is good. Okay, so you've got some homework. What I'd like you to do is read the two situations here. I will put this document in the description below. But what I'd like you to do is take a moment to think about what you would say in these situations and write down what you would say in the comments of the video. So really think about it. You don't have to comment now. Have some time to think about it, what's appropriate, and also go through the document again if you need to and try testing out some of these different devices that you can use, okay? So think about the power that the speaker has, you are the speaker, and the listener has. Think about the imposition. So in this case, you're with your classmate who you've known for 2 years and you're really good friends with them. So here, the level of power is the same, okay? You regularly see each other for drinks, you want her to open the window. So this is a low level of imposition. So power is the same, imposition is low. Okay, you're not asking your friend for the keys to their Ferrari, for example. The same with the second one. Think about the context. Think about the level of power that each person has in this context and the level of imposition. I'm going to finish there because I'd like you to think about it a little bit before you comment. And I will check your comments after. Make sure you are using these questions appropriately so you're not going to offend any Brits or Americans or whoever, actually offend anyone. So I hope you have a fantastic day. Any questions, leave them in the comments and I will see you later on today for another live lesson. See you later, guys.